Okay, so in the previous chapter, we saw that Luffy had obviously met up with Rob Lucci, and they transformed and they fought and all that stuff. But before that happened, we kind of cut away to Aki Inu back at naval headquarters, and he found out that the Straw Hats were on Egghead, but things are different now because he's a Yonko, and he says it's basically like a declaration of war at this point, and he doesn't want CP0 to battle them, and he's asking like, all right, so where's Kizaru? And then somebody says like he's already on his way to Egghead for a prior operation, which is interesting. And then he's like, then Aki Inu says, then tell Lucci to wait for the Navy to arrive. Do not let him battle with Straw Hat, referring to Lucci. So that brings us to like the topic of this video. Kizaru is for sure going to show up in Egghead in this arc.
Oh,
like
yeah.
We're past the point of where he's asking. He's just already there. Apparently he had a prior operation, which is interesting. But now he's going to show up, and I assume he's going to show up in time to face off against Luffy, right? Do you think that's likely here?
I think that's a safe assumption that he would show up very soon because he has the Glin fruit, right? Like he can travel at the speed of light. There should be no reason why he almost isn't in this chapter that we got just recently. Like I wouldn't be shocked if they're like, hey, Kizaru, he just left, and then by the end of the chapter he shows up and he's like, all right, I made it on time. Like I think that would have been really cool. It would have given that like that light fruit effect. But yeah, he's gonna show up and he's gonna cause a lot of turmoil. I don't know what's gonna happen exactly, but if he were to fight Luffy, I just don't think we're at the point of the story where we would simply lose to an admiral if it was like one-on-one, right? Like if Kizaru if Kizaru and Lucci were teaming up against Luffy, that's a different story.
Oh, that's something. Yeah, I guess that is very likely something to happen too. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Almost a little overkill at this point, maybe. But it's like, okay, so you think that we got to the point in the story where Luffy shouldn't be losing to an admiral?
Yes. I mean, with his newfound Yonko title, with him taking down Kaido in Gear 5th and all the room he can grow with it, I just feel like it's too where we're too late in the game to lose. If Luffy loses, it's gonna have to be to something ridiculous, just something we haven't seen before. And there's so many things about Kizaru's character that I just feel like don't work well for him during this fight. Like we were talking about the gloves that we were introduced to earlier in this arc, the light touching gloves, and people were like, oh, like maybe somebody's going to use that to attack Kizaru. But the more I think about it, the more it kind of also doesn't make sense, right? Because I would imagine Gear 5th, Haki, and Rio, I feel like that would work better against Kizaru than the light gloves, but we'll have to wait and see what that's all about. And even during Luffy's fight against Kaido, he grabbed a thunderbolt, right?
Yeah.
Like he just grabbed a random thunderbolt. If Kizaru shoots a light beam, who's to say Luffy just can't grab that and like throw it right back at him? Like there's a lot of nuances with Kizaru's fruit that I just feel like won't work well for him in this specific fight.
That's exactly what I thought of too. I thought of the lightning grab, which is amazing. Like when I first read that chapter, like I don't know, my brain wasn't like processing that he like turned the lightning to rubber and then grabbed it. I was thinking it was just something that he could just do because there was a lot of like, I don't know, kind of unknowns that first week or those first 2 weeks when it was revealed.
Yeah.
And then in the Road to Laugh Tale, I think volume 3, it said that like, yeah, he rubberized lightning. I was like, wow, he did.
All right, cool.
So I
science,
guess,
man. Yeah.
I guess he could do that to Kizaru's as well. Which I think we'll probably see, right? Him just rubberizing his light ability and then just, I don't know, doing whatever.
Yeah. I don't know if the light ability would necessarily hurt him back. I mean, I guess if it's rubberized light, I guess it could. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to put logic behind One Piece at this point, but if he were to grab Kizaru's light beam or even light sword, right? Because we saw him use that against Rayleigh. Like, he could probably just grab the sword and just, like, yank it out of his hands or something.
That seems
like, just something
likely.
super cartoony.
And also, you brought up the gloves. Like, I do think the gloves are going to be used here. And it's not a coincidence that they obviously link up with grabbing light and then Kizaru coming here. Maybe it's not for Luffy. Maybe it's like for the other Straw Hats, because you said that everybody else has hockey and whatnot, and that solves the light Logia problem. But for the other Straw Hats, who for some reason at this point in the story still don't have freaking hockey.
Yeah, I'm so shocked. Honestly, by the time we hit time skip, I thought that Frankie, Robin, like I thought more Straw Hats would have hockey, or at least show like slight glimpses of Artemis even. But that's not really the case. But they all make up for it with their Devil Fruits or their quirky abilities, so it's kind of fine. But when I think of the light gloves, like you're right, like Luffy probably wouldn't use them. Zoro has swords, so he wouldn't punch Kizaru. We have Sanji, who doesn't hit with his fists. We have Jinbei, who knows Fishman Karate and full body armament based on the anime. So it's like, dang, like I guess Robin could, but if Robin puts them on, like, does it work with their Devil Fruit? I don't think so, because it's just bare naked hands. Frankie is a cyborg, so he has a giant arm, so that really wouldn't work either. Like, and then there's Usopp, and I'm like, I can't see Usopp boxing Kizaru, so that's just like a crazy fanfic right there. So it's like, who would use it? And then there's Brook, who also has a sword. Like, I feel like the gloves just wouldn't fit any of the Straw Hats necessarily.
Yeah, unless Vegapunk just does it himself or something. But
Time to take things in my own hands, yeah.
Exactly. They have to come back into play somehow. But just as for Kizaru versus Gear 5 Luffy, you just think that naturally, since Luffy defeated Kaido, he should be able to defeat Kizaru as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. Like, yeah, I think Luffy would definitely take on Kizaru. I know, like, a lot of people are scared of power scaling, and I'm totally fine. Like, opinions change, right? If we get the next chapter and Luffy is down for the count, then obviously my opinion's going to be very different. But as of right now, and based off of what I've seen personally, I think that Luffy would beat Kizaru. Would it be an easy fight? No. Like, I don't think this would be an easy fight at all. And another thing that Oda has been hiding from the audience is Logia Awakenings. We haven't seen a single one in the story. We've seen multiple Paramecia, multiple Zoan Awakenings, not a singular Logia Awakening. So if anybody were to have it, it would have to be one of the admirals, I would assume, right?
So yeah, you said that we haven't seen it, which is technically true. But
yes,
Aki Inu and Kuzan, they are implied to be they're implied to be awakened. Because they, in theory, made Punk Hazard that way by using their awakening abilities and changing it. So if they are hypothetically awakened, then I guess Kizaru would have to be as well.
I would agree.
About the Logia Awakenings, I think the only thing that we really get like super special with these awakenings seems to be Zoan. Because, like, the other Paramecia Awakenings that we've seen, it's kind of just like, we have the ability to change things. I guess Logia is the same thing. And it's just like the Zoans get the special stuff for some reason. Like, they get a transformation and new abilities and stuff. But Logias
and then even in this chapter, like, Lucci gets, like, a cloak of black clouds, too. Yeah, no, Zoan Awakenings are super hype.
Exactly. And so unless Oda just decides to include some kind of new thing, because he always could. I mean, why not? Just like, Logia Awakenings can do this and do that, and it's like, okay, why not? Makes things more interesting at this point in the story. But at this point, it just doesn't seem like they're doing too many like special things. So yeah, it goes back to, I think Luffy should be able to defeat him in a 1v1. Yeah, like you said, not easy, of course. And you were talking about the power scaling thing, and it's like, I'm hesitant to do it too because, man, people treat it like religion and politics and stuff.
Yeah. Which side are you on?
Exactly.
There's only one right answer here.
And it's the one that I want. Or whoever's writing the comment. But, like, you can't, it's difficult to even power scale it because, like, Kizaru hasn't done that much. Luffy's only went against Kaido and Lucci. So, that's why it also gets really intense because there's not enough information to give you like a definitive answer other than just assuming that Gear 5 Luffy should be stronger than Kizaru at this point. If you were talking about like him against Aki Inu, that would be difficult for me to really think about who would win that because I hold Aki Inu at such a higher level of power
High
than
regards,
Kizaru.
yeah.
Not like way higher, but I think he's, you know, strong enough
He's
to
Fleet
where
Admiral.
you don't know who's going to win between him and Luffy. As where Kizaru, I think we kind of know that Luffy should be able to take it, but this will probably be a tougher fight for him than what Lucci represents for sure, right?
I would say so. I mean, Lucci's in the realm of Gear Fifth at this point, right? Like whether or not Luffy needs it to beat him, he's keeping up at least to this regard, right? Like they exchanged a couple blows. Lucci's right there with him, and I know a lot of people hate to see that Lucci is that strong, but I really just think we need to wait for that next chapter. Like, dude, anything can happen. It's a shonen manga. It's One Piece. Oda loves the parallels. He loves Lucci. So if we get to the next chapter and Lucci's actually giving Luffy a run for his money, then, you know, opinions can definitely change.
Yeah. I mean, I'm right there with you.